At 71 years old, rock legend Don Dokken, frontman of the iconic 1980s metal band Dokken, has left fans stunned with a revelation about his longtime bandmate and rival, guitarist George Lynch. For decades, the relationship between Dokken and Lynch has been one of the most talked about sagas in heavy metal history, marked by both brilliant collaboration and bitter feuding. Their music together defined an era, with Lynch's blistering guitar riffs and Dokken's soaring vocals creating some of the most memorable anthems of the glam metal scene. Yet behind the music was a volatile partnership filled with clashing egos, backstage arguments, and years of tension that eventually tore the band apart. Now, Don Dokken has finally broken his silence, revealing shocking truths about his relationship with Lynch that few could have imagined. In a candid moment, he admitted that while the two of them were often at odds, George Lynch was not only the most talented guitarist he had ever worked with, but also the one who challenged him to reach new creative heights. Dokken confessed that their rivalry, as destructive as it often seemed, was also the fuel that pushed the band to achieve greatness during their peak years. Fans who long believed that Don and George's hatred for each other ran too deep were surprised to hear Don speak with both respect and regret. He admitted that ego and stubbornness often got in the way of appreciating the genius that Lynch brought to the table, and that perhaps if they had found a way to manage their differences, Dokken as a band might have lasted even longer at the top. Don went on to explain that time has changed his perspective. At 71, looking back on a lifetime in rock and roll, he realizes that the music they created together mattered far more than the fights that drove them apart. He admitted that while their arguments sometimes turned personal, the truth is that he always admired George Lynch and in some ways even envied the guitarist's relentless drive and skill. The revelation shocked fans who had grown accustomed to years of bitter comments between the two in interviews, with both men often refusing to even share a stage. Don's words, however, hinted at a newfound maturity, as though age had softened the resentment and left only an appreciation for what they accomplished together. The news spread quickly through the rock community, sparking debates among fans about whether this confession could open the door for a true reconciliation. Many wondered if Don and George might finally set aside their differences for one last performance, something fans have dreamed of for decades. Others pointed out that even if a full reunion never happens, Don's words are a powerful reminder that time can heal wounds, and that even the most contentious relationships can eventually give way to respect. For Don Dokken, the confession was more than just a headline. It was a moment of reflection, an acknowledgement that his life's greatest music was made alongside the very man he once claimed to despise. By admitting the truth at 71, he not only shocked fans, but also gave them a glimpse into the complex, fragile humanity behind the rock and roll image. The revelation showed that beyond the riffs, the tours, and the feuds, there was a bond between Don Dokken and George Lynch that could never truly be broken, no matter how many years or arguments stood between them.